Hello, guys. I met them last year at the Warsaw Beer Festival. It was one of the most notable breweries I found there. They are also now in Belgium at the Shop de Caigny. You can buy them there. Welcome, Lucas from Maltgarden Brewing. How are you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing great, thank you.
Tell us, Lucas, Maltgarden, you started in 2019, and one of your first batches there was on the Warsaw Beer Festival. How are things going now?
Yes, we started in March 2019 during the Warsaw Beer Festival. That was our, I think, sixth and seventh and eighth batch because the first six batches was Imperial Stouts and Imperial Porters. So during the Warsaw Beer Festival, we had IPA, Goze, and Session IPA. And right now, things are crazy. During this year of brewing beer in 2020, we started canning beers. We started selling beers through whole Europe, you can say. Uh, I think the reward that Rate Beer gave us as the top 10 best new
Yeah.
brewers in 2019, I think that was the starting point of selling more beers to the foreign countries beside Poland.
Yeah, when I was at the Warsaw Beer Festival, when I talked to brewers, they all had a wish, and it was like to export more towards in the Eurozone. That's
Yeah.
something for you guys that kicked off very quickly.
Yes, because we had a lot of connections through Europe. I know few wholesalers in Europe. We had many friends in many countries, so they knew that we can make very good beers. So for them, there was no surprise that when we sent the beer to the wholesalers, to the shops or beer bars, the quality of the beers will be good.
Yeah. Side question, maybe: do you pasteurize the beer?
Yes, we pasteurize the imperial stouts, imperial porters, barrel-aged beers, but now the IPAs and other beers that we are canning, they are not pasteurized. But we are like 100% sure that nothing would happen with the beer in the can. So you can be sure that this beer is unpasteurized, but the fermentation and everything goes smoothly, and we are not pasteurized also because in the place that we are contracting our beers in Lemberg, they don't have any pasteurizer, so the beers are not pasteurized there.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and the beers that I saw of you guys is mostly the stronger, the porters, imperial stouts. Also, is that how do you choose the styles? Do you brew what are more the trends in the craft world, or how do you design a beer?
Me and Andrew, the head brewer of Maltgarden, we are traveling a lot. We are every year at the Mikkeler Beer Copenhagen celebration. We are trying to drink a lot of beers from different breweries around the world. And then during the conversations after the festivals, or during maybe when we are call each other, we say, okay, that's what I like, that's what I didn't like, and the creation of the beer in Maltgarden is very quickly. So I can say that the next 5 cans that we brewed and will be available in 3 weeks. We planned maybe for 5 minutes because I know Andre for a long time, and the brewing process and what we are thinking about the beer, the craft beer, and what we can show to people that they are drinking our beers is very quickly, and the process is in few minutes we know, okay, let's do this. maybe sometimes when the beer is very difficult to brew, like very thick stouts, we must talk more about the process of the brewing. But as I told you, um, each year we are at the very best festivals in Europe, so we can try what the best brewers in the world are producing. So I think that is also the beers that we are making. It's the beers that we are like to drink. So we will never brew a beer that don't like because there is a trend or something like that. That's why we didn't brew brut IPA, because we don't like it, and that was the reason.
Is there any beer style we may never expect from Maltgarden?
I think, yeah, I think maybe you will not expect a peaty imperial stout. I think because we are the fans of peaty whiskey like Ardbeg or Bowmore, but in a beer, it sometimes you can get a good peated imperial stout, but I think this will be the beer that will never come from Maltgarden. What else? We had an argue about barley wine because uh, it's also a very difficult style to brew, and we only want to do a beer that will come very good. But I think we will do a barley wine barrel aged. Maybe a regular version will not be in the sale, but bourbon barrel aged version, I think, someday will be produced at Maltgarden.
Yeah, cool. What is you mentioned already because of the good feedback you get from Raid Beer, you export a
Yeah,
lot. That's quite exceptional
yeah,
for a brewery in Poland.
yeah.
What is the percentage of export and what is the percentage in Poland consumed?
It depends of the month, because at the end of the year, I think it was not so high because we only made imperial stouts. But right now, when we are having our beer in cans, the exporting percentage is right now, I think, 35%.
Right, cool.
I think after the pandemic, everything is starting to go higher and higher. So I think maybe in few months it will be more. But right now I'm very satisfied with the percentage of the exporting our beers to the other countries.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Is the canning, is that a tactical decision for the export or is there another reason?
There was two reasons. One of it is export, because many wholesalers in Europe said, okay, you have one of the best IPAs in Poland, you have to get cans. And the second one, we knew a company that have a canning line, and they are traveling through Poland with the canning line, and we decided to work with them. The first canning was very successful, and right now in 2 weeks we have the second canning with 5 new beers. So I think for next 6 months we will be using the company with the mobile canning line. Maybe in the future, Ale Brovar from Lemberg will buy their own canning line, but right now we will be using the mobile canning.
Yeah, yeah, that's clear. Um, you also made a beer with Galea craft brewery from
Yeah,
a friend of mine in Antwerp. How did you
yeah.
guys met each other?
We met, I think, 2 years ago or 3 years ago during the London Craft Beer Festival.
Mhm.
Uh, we
Your audio is fading.
Garden started, Andrew was, we decided to brew two imperial stouts in Poland and then a hazy IPA in Belgium at the Packhouse Brewery, I think it's
Yeah,
pronounced.
at Packhouse in Antwerp.
Yeah. It the beer was scored. We met again in Antwerp.
Yeah. Um, the the typical Polish markets, are they following the new beer trends? Like we had the very alcoholic imperial stouts, the hazy New England IPAs. Now it's a bit more softer
Yeah.
alcohol. Maybe Weiser and Lager is reviving. Is Poland following those trends as consumers?
You know, we are following the trends. Right now in Poland is very hyped on the pastry sours. We also made two pastry sours,
Okay.
but in Poland, the most brewers are brewing the hazy IPAs because people like it, and I think in when people are selling beer at the bottle shop, I think 5 or 6 beers for selling 10 bottles is the hazy IPA. But a lot of brewers are brewing imperial stouts. We also have uh, a very good quality fruit beers like Goze,
Oh,
pastry sours with fruits. That's the thing to brew in Poland right now. As I said earlier, we didn't brew Brut IPA. It was also last year. Few breweries made it, but the trend was not so successful as hazy IPA. So it's I think few brewers are brewing it, but most of the brewers are brewing the hazy IPAs.
yeah. In your voice, I don't hear any doubt with this pandemic. Like I have to lower my volumes of beer. You're still focusing on producing more and exporting more, if I'm correctly.
Yeah, as the pandemic started, our
Hmm.
worked and everything,
Mm.
but we had a lot of work during the pandemic. We increased the volume of producing beer. Right now, we don't have any beer at our stock. We only have a
Yeah.
Pilsner and wheat beer, Hefeweizen, because we are located in Kołobrzeg, in a city near Baltic seashore,
Hmm.
and the tourists like to drink imperials, not the Hefeweizen and Pils. So that's why we always have these kind of beers on our stock. But IPAs or pastry sours or pastry stouts, it's all sold out.
Yeah. So you're even looking to increase your capacity right now to export more.
Mm, you know, we are brewing right now, I think 250 hectoliters per month, and I think it's a lot for us. So maybe not increase, but sustain the quality of the beer. So I think this will be our capacity for next month. But if the demand will be higher, of course we will make more to not just in Poland but also through Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. What are your expectations of the craft scene in Poland during this pandemic? Bars are closed now. Powell started an organization to lobby for online selling of alcohol, that will be legal in Poland. What are your expectations? What will the pandemic change in the craft
Mm,
scene?
You know, for the last 3 weeks, I think, or 2 weeks, the doors are open.
Oh.
From last week, you can go to pubs, to restaurants without any with any, like, we had when the pub started 2 weeks ago, can also only had like maybe 20 people at the bar. Right now, I think there are no restricting the capacity of the pub, but you have to sit 2 meters on each table. And you said about selling beers or alcohol in an internet. In this is very tough because we have a law that was produced in 1982 during very very difficult times in Poland, and this is the law that was only modified, and there was no internet back then, and it's not illegal to sell beer or alcohol through internet, but also it's not legal. So bottle shops are not selling because we had few years ago we had the bottle shops that was selling craft beer by internet received a very, like, maybe not a threat but a note when you not will you will stop the selling alcohol, craft beer on your web shop, or we will
prosecute you.
we will we will inform government or some kind of organization, and you will lose your business. So many bottle shops ended the internet bottle shops. So right now you cannot legally buy craft beer on internet in Poland, but there are shops that are doing it. I hope that the law will change, but right now it's not legal, but it's also not illegal. It's a strange thing.
It's the gray zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of ingredients in the Maltgarden batches, you use also Polish hops and stuff, or it's more the international hops you follow?
We are using hops from United States, from Australia. Right now, we are using our favorite hops like Galaxy and Enigma from Australia. We used Strata hops, a new variety from United States. But Polish hops we are only using for bittering the imperial stouts, and we are also using Polish malt, and also a malt from United Kingdom, the Simpson malts. So when you are saying that if we are using a Polish ingredient, yes, but most of it there are hops from United States and from Australia.
And pastry wise, do you use also sometimes chemicals in it to flavor it a bit more, or is that all natural?
Sometimes we are using natural aromas, as we did with the collaboration with Giovanni with Galea, because sometimes you cannot achieve some kind of flavor with like we are using a lot of coconut, we are using a lot of cocoa nibs, cocoa powder. We are using a different fruits, but 2 weeks ago we released a pastry sour that was imitating a cheesecake with a mango. You can add a mango, you can add you can add fruits, but the character of the beer, the cheesecake flavor, you have to add it with a natural aroma. But we are using the aromas very very gentle and very thoughtful, so it's not overwhelming, I think it's very balanced with the beer flavor and the fruit character. Or in the imperial stouts, when we are using it, we are only using the natural aromas when we cannot add it naturally.
Yeah, yeah. A more personal question: what is the most difficult thing on being a brewer?
Oh, I think right now, uh, to not have your own brewery, because we are a gypsy brewers. When you have your own brewery, you can be there every day. You can sometimes, when you are a gypsy brewer, not all of it that happens in the brewery is your fault. So that's why when I am traveling to Bitów or to Lemberg, it's very close to my home, so it's like a 1.5 hour drive with a car. But sometimes you are making a bottling and something collapses, or the bottles not arrive at the brewery, and you also only have the orders from the wholesalers, and you have to tell them, oh, it wasn't our fault. And yeah, I think that's the difficult thing. You, you don't have your own brewery, and sometimes not everything is up to you. But the brewing, it's very satisfying thing to do. It's we sometimes like talk with Andrew. It's not so difficult when you are know what to do and you know the brewing process. It's only fun to make a beer.
Yeah. Are there any goals like within a couple of years? I want to have my own brewery and my own equipment. Is that a short-term goal
Ah,
or?
you know, mm, when you are, it's maybe, how do you say it? In Poland, it's very. We would like to have our own brewery, but it's a lot of money to spend on a brewery. And right now, our goal is to have our own barrel room. We visited many times Bayhaven in Copenhagen, and I think that's the place that we want to have at Kołobrzeg. I can tell you that we already have a place to start our barrel room, and maybe in during our second birthday, so in March of 2021, it will be opened. So finger crossed. Right now, everything is going smoothly. So I think barrel room, yes. Our own brewery, I don't think so, but never say never.
Indeed. Um, yeah. Festival-wise, you are invited, of course, in many European festivals, but a lot of them are cancelled this summer. What are the summer plans for Maltgarden this summer, except brewing?
It depends on the government what they can allow or not. I think the first test will be, we was invited already in February to a festival in Artisan Brewery near
Yeah.
Warsaw, one of the first craft brewery in Poland. So they invited us to the small festival around the brewery. So I think at the end of June we will go there, and I think this will be the first test during the pandemic, what the people will react, or if they will come to the festival. It's a very small festival, but I think step by step it will be like increasing. So one more beer festival in September was not planned, but I think also there will be a festival in Krakow, and in September also, no, in October also Beer Geek Madness at Wrocław, and Warsaw Beer Festival also in October. So if everything will be going smoothly right now in Poland regarding the pandemic and how many people will be sick. So I think the festival will also be available to more people. So we'll see. The time will show if the festivals will be active or not. We are prepared for everything. So right now, many festival was cancelled.
Yeah.
Last week we were invited to the Wrocław Beer Festival. It was cancelled. This week we wanted to go to the Szczecin Beer Festival. It was also cancelled. So yeah, many cancellations, many foreign festivals. We were invited to the Lausanne beer festivals, to other cities in Europe. So everything was cancelled, but I hope everything will go back to normal in 2021, and we can meet each other at the festivals through Europe.
Yeah, indeed. You also think, do you think that during the pandemic, the demand of more accessible and less expensive beers will rise in the craft scene?
Uh, you know, in Poland, bottle shops were the owners of bottle shop told me that the increase of the sale of the bottles were like crazy. During the
Okay.
pandemic, people bought everything. Maybe I yeah, we released in February and in March we released many imperial stouts, barrel aged stouts, and everything sold out. So I think where people when people like craft beers, they will buy it, and maybe in few months it will change. But I think the craft brewery scene is it's a hobby. When you have a hobby, you have to spend money. So I think people will also buy expensive beers. Maybe not so often, but I think we cannot say that barrel aged beers will stand on the shelf for many months.
Yeah.
I think people will buy it.
Are there? Is it difficult as a craft brewer to get your beers into different cities before you are, of course, awarded? Is it difficult to, if there are less bars, there are less taps to sell it, but if there are a lot of brewers, yeah, is it difficult to give your beer a chance towards bars?
You know, when Maltgarden started, the first thing was to cooperate very good with the wholesalers. We have a very good wholesalers in Poland, so we are not selling beers to bottle shops, to bars, yes, but to bottle shops and other shops with alcohol. We are selling only beers through wholesalers. So that's why we are in many places, because the wholesalers have very good connections with the bottle shops, and they can distribute our beers through whole Poland. So our main goal is to cooperate with the wholesalers very good, and I think after 1 year I can say that the cooperation with the wholesalers is on the good stand, and our beers are in most of good bottle shops in Poland. So when you are traveling to big cities in Poland like Warsaw, Poznań, Wrocław, Gdańsk, Szczecin, you can go to bottle shops with craft beers, and Maltgarden definitely will be on the shelves.
Oh, great. Yeah, even recently in Antwerp, in the KNE, I found a collection of your bottles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was
We
very
sent
surprised with that.
yeah, we sent few times our beers. Last time I think it was when we traveled to Billy's Beer Festival.
Yeah,
So I think that's why the beers are there to buy.
yeah, indeed. Finally, I have a last question for you, Lucas.
Yeah.
Is there a definition of craft beer? And if yes, what is it?
Uh, I think yes. I think my definition of craft beer is connecting with people, because when you are drinking beer, you are connecting with other people that are drinking beer. First time when I was at the Copenhagen Beer Celebration, I was amazed. You have like 50 or 60 different nationalities on this festival, and everyone was smiling. Everyone was like greeting you. Oh man, what are you drinking? Where are you from? It was, for me, that's the main thing at the craft beer scene. People getting closer and closer, drinking craft beer. So I think for me, definition of craft beer is connecting with people, because uh, I will not know you if there was not a craft beer. I will not know Giovanni. I will not know Andrzej, the co-owner of Maltgarden. So I think the craft beer is people, and we have to stick to that, because yeah, beer unites people.
Yes, some very, very nice last words. Lucas, thanks for the interview, and
Thank
see you
you.
soon in Poland, or if you're in Belgium, let me know.
Yeah, hope so. Thank you very much for the interview.
All right.